Hello, my name is Randy Ripke. I'm the developer of TASbiller Cloud. The following video will help explain features of the program. If you have any questions, please feel free to email or call. I hope you enjoy your use of TASbiller Cloud.
Hello, this is Randy Ripke, the developer of TASbiller. Today we'll be talking about posting accounts in file maintenance. So we go to the File Maintenance menu and select Posting Accounts. And you'll be presented with a grid listing the posting accounts in our system. Posting accounts primarily are the charge items that appear on the client's invoice, but they're actually used in several different parts of the program. Again, from this grid we can edit or delete posting accounts. And let's just start by editing this first one, and we'll go through each possibility of the various posting account types. First of all, there are 4 different types of posting accounts: fixed, quantity, tax, and percentage charge. A fixed charge, such as an administrative fee, would not have a unit value or a formula. It's simply a dollar amount that you would type in on the client's rate tab or during manual charge posting. Answering service, again, I use this as a base charge. So the words answering service are what appear on the client's invoice. The accounting code is used to group like charges together. We discussed that in miscellaneous file maintenance. So this is a telephone answering service code. Again, since it's a fixed charge, there is no formula and there are no units. Notice also I have the Included Analysis checkbox checked. This tells the system to include charges under this posting account when doing profitability analysis and other types of business analysis. Holiday fee, again fixed, included analysis. If any of your charges are taxable, be sure this checkbox is checked. Late charges are primarily posted during the billing process and the billing period menu. We'll be discussing those later. But again, they're a fixed charge. We want to include them in analysis, and they are taxable. Now, message charges would be a quantity charge. And again, we want to include an analysis, and they're taxable. Now, a couple of options popped up here. You'll see this one. This quantity format tells me how many decimal places to print on the invoice when I'm printing the quantities used for the charges on the client's invoice. On a message, since there wouldn't be any fraction of a message, it's always a whole number, so you wouldn't have a decimal place here. Examples of charges that might have decimal places would be time units. We'll get to those in a minute. The formula comes from your task data fields down below. Now in this case, we have field 124 from task system 16, which is the StarTel, and field 124 is the message count. Now when you want to set up these initially, let's assume these are blank, and we want to have our message charge be this field 124 message count. All you have to do is click on the field and drag it up into the formula, and there it goes. We can save changes. While we're here, I'll discuss this formula field format. The 16 represents the task system that we're speaking of, and then the $ is a separator. 124 represents the field for that system. So StarTel in TASbiller Cloud is task system number 16. This was simply done by getting with the programmers. We listed all the possible file imports that we could have, and StarTel was just 16th alphabetically. And 124 would be this message count. If you add more fields to this, like say we add IntelliForm count, it'll add the plus sign for you. There are many variations on the math. You can edit these manually, adding or removing. Be sure to save your changes. Now here's an example of a more complex formula for operator time. Now because it's a time, we may have a quarter of a minute or a half of a minute, that sort of thing. So we want to be able to allow for decimal places on the invoice to show for the client. This formula is using units, which in StarTel are units of 6-second increments in my case. And we're looking at field 42 on the StarTel, which is the work units. And we're also looking at field 45, which is maintenance units. Now, maintenance units in my setup are 120 seconds apiece. So I'm basically rounding up to the nearest to 6 seconds on my agent work time. I'm rounding up to 2 minutes on my maintenance time. So this formula is taking from the StarTel field 42, multiplying it by 6. Notice that the number 6 needs to be within square brackets and preceded by a pound sign. That differentiates it as being a number versus a field. So we're taking the number of units times 6 plus the number of maintenance units times 120 to give us total seconds used. We then divide that by 60 to give us minutes. You can do multiplication, addition, subtraction, or division, and of course the parentheses to group related functions together within your formula. Patch charges, again I'm taking a particular field and dividing this one in half. This invoice units field, this will show up on the invoice, and we had that on operator time as well, minutes. This is optional, and I'll show you on the invoice in just a moment how the operator time description will show up with the billable quantity followed by the word minutes, so the client knows I'm charging them for the number of minutes for operator time. Now this is an example of a percentage charge, and we're just having fun here and calling it Randy's profit. And in this case, the formula is going to be the percentage I'm going to charge. Now this can be a positive or a negative percentage. So in this case, because I'm just adding to my profit, I'm going to increase everything by 10%. Now you can also use this more frequently. It's used for discounts. So you have a BNI discount. You might have a minus 0.1 there as a 10% discount for the BNI discount. Or any other organization you might be a member of where you offer a discount. I find it helpful to show discounts on the invoice so the customer is reminded every time they see their bill that they're getting a discount from you for whatever reason. That should be an included analysis. So it's a percentage charge and it's taxable, and we're going to save our changes. Here's a sales tax for South Carolina. The account code on this one is different. It's sales tax, so it's separated from my telephone answering service analysis. The formula, again, is the percentage for the tax, in this case 6%. We give it a type code of tax, and we're saying it's taxable, but this is actually a code telling that this tax applies to all posting accounts that are taxable in the system. Now this would not be included in analysis because this is not profit for us, of course. This is just a pass-through. Secure text device, this gives us an example of a fixed quantity, and I'll illustrate this in just a moment. This is a quantity charge, again taxable, should be included in analysis. Let's save that. And it's a fixed quantity. And in a moment we'll look at an example of this on the client's rate tab, where you can see how the math works. This is for charging per device, but it's a fixed quantity that you manually enter. It's not derived from any fields in the billing data coming from the system. This is a number that you manually enter into the client's rate tab. Whereas secure messages, which should be taxable, would be, again, subject to a formula. We're going to print the word messages on the client's invoice, include an analysis. Again, we have no decimal places because we're going to have a full message. And we're going to save these changes to the program. If we go into customers and bring up Joe the plumber and look at his rate tab, we can see he has a base charge, which is one of our fixed charges, of $1.99. We're charging him for operator time. Within the operator time, within that base rate, we're including 150 minutes. If he goes over that 150 minutes, it's $1.75 per minute, and this extends out to 760.02. Patch charges, again, is a quantity charge, and it's picking up 11.5 from our data at 65 cents, is 748. Now our secure text device, this was our fixed quantity posting account. So we're telling it we're going to have 3, and we're using this limit column to plug in the number. So this is the quantity and the charge per unit, extending out to $36. And then here we're charging for a secure text message at $2. There were 59 of them, and $118 is the total charge. The sales tax for this client, again calculated. The profit figure down here came from the 10% of all of these charges up above. Now, to see the data that generated these charges, we can look at the Transactions tab, and this is our StarTel data. So I can manually go back and look through the fields and add up the quantities and confirm our calculations. Now, for example, the secure message count of 59 units came from this field. So 59 was my SMP count. I can confirm what's being billed here under secure message quantities of 59, so I know my formula is correct. And that's the best way of confirming that you have your formula set up correctly, is to look at the Transactions tab, do the math yourself, and compare with the results on the Rate tab to make sure that the formula is doing what you want it to do. Next, we'll look at this client's invoice. Here is Joe the plumber's invoice, and we can see how our fixed charge appears, the various time charges with the corresponding decimal places, the number of devices that we have. Now here's where the decimal places come into play. So there's no decimal point on these, on the quantities. So the secure text device had 3 devices at $12 for extension, 59 messages at $2, and so forth. And we allowed for fractions of minutes to appear times the minute rate for the extension here. And this would be the total charges for this invoice. And that concludes posting account maintenance.